Okay, progress. Okay, right. I want to share my screen. Okay, share my screen. Share which screen? Let's share this screen. Okay. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I just did a short presentation just to explain the background behind open source ecology, or OSE as we call it. And well, Curtis is familiar with it, as we met in Missouri during the Summer X 2021. Anyway, so OSE is basically an organization, open source ecology, that was founded by Marcin Jakubowski around 2003. So it's been going on for quite some time. And he came up with this vision to create the GVCS, which is the Global Village Construction Set. So it's actually a set of 50 machines which he reckons are needed to start a civilization. Right, and I think the underlying thing about these machines, open source machines, is that they are open source, which means that they're not proprietary. So the designs of the machines are open for anybody to download, and if you can, build them yourself. And on the screen, I have the two sources. So this is the open source ecology website, opensourceecology.org. And then there's the wiki. The wiki is actually where you'll find most of the information, all the designs, all the, oh, oops, sorry, let me go back. How do I go back? I think. All right, okay. So the open source ecology wiki, so which is wiki.opensourceecology.org, is where you'll find the actual, all the designs and all the information. There's just a heck of a lot of information about open source ecology on there, and all the things that they're involved in, all the machines that have been that are being developed. Right. Okay, so this is, yes.
I'd like to add something about the wiki.
Yes.
The wiki is also where, as we progress and we take on a task, that's also where you record what we produce or whatever in the wiki, from notes to what we doing. Am I right, Ken?
Yes, that's correct. Actually, the fact that these machines are all open source, the designs are all free for anybody to download and use in any way that they wish. What is actually requested when you do that is to actually feed back into the development of these machines. For instance, if you downloaded the plans to make the CB press, and you made your own version of the CB press, and you actually improved on the design that you found, you are actually asked to feed back. Yes, all right. You are actually asked to feed back into the wiki to help develop the the whole GVCS. So it's actually a way of the premise behind open source is that the machines are developed by a global network of people. So the idea is that if we have contributions from all over the globe to improve the designs, then it'll develop faster than and be a better product than proprietary machines. Right. Okay. Maybe okay. Later, I'll show you one of my my logbook. So you can keep a log on the wiki of what you're actually doing or involved in. Right.
Ken.
Yes.
For the as we start this OSE Botswana.
Yes.
Are we going to be keeping a log of the different things that we use to even bring OSE Botswana into existence?
Yes, yeah, the idea is to try and be as open as possible so that people can actually replicate what we're doing, you know, and have an easier time of actually maybe opening their own OSE chapter wherever they are.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, so even the plans, the business plan that I've written is on the wiki. It's also on the wiki as well.
Okay.
All right. So the GVCS, the Global Construction Set, is a modular DIY low-cost set of blueprints that enables fabrication of the 50 different industrial machines that it takes to build a small, sustainable civilization with all the modern comforts. So as I said, these blueprints are freely available, and this is the direct opposite of proprietary designs. And so in the next slide, this is actually the list of the 50 different machines and the state of completion. So at the moment, only the 3D printer, the micro house, the CEB press, and the power cube, and are at 100% completion. But this is actually from 2018. Who have we got? Somebody else wanting to join. So this is from 2018. So the tractor, the micro tractor, is actually complete. I would say that's at 100% now. The micro house, for us, the micro house is, or at least for me, the micro house is not of much interest because it's of stick frame construction, which in Africa, I think stick frame is not the way to go because of termites. We have termites. So yeah. So CVs are for me the better bet. Right. But as you can see from the list, I mean, it's a pretty long list of things. And I think one of the things that I was impressed with when I got to Missouri, OSE Missouri, was the setup there. I mean, it was nice to see that it was all there. But also what was disappointing was the state of development. I would have liked to have seen much more done, or you know, much further development. But I think that's a problem with getting people to participate when they're actually working jobs, and you know, it's difficult to get time off. Right, right. But at the moment, so what we're looking at now is the 3D printer, the CEB press, the power cube, and the tractor. These are products which are ready, which are already ready. So Marcin has actually sold 3D printers, he's sold the CEB press, and you need a power cube to actually operate the CEB press. So power cube is done, and the tractor. And the idea is every time there's a build of these machines, it should feed back into the original design to develop it or to improve it. Right, okay, so I have a note here, micro house is stick frame construction, not suited for warm climate because of termites. Right, so the OSE vision the OSE vision is to create a world of collaborative design for a transparent and inclusive economy of abundance. So this is, I actually lifted this from the OSE vision, OSE Missouri. But what does it mean? For me, it means free and open information used to create products that have a meaningful impact on African lives and not dependent on global supply chains. We have all we need in Africa from the soil beneath our feet. A world of abundance, enough for everyone, not a world of haves and have-nots, or a world of artificial scarcity. Right. If there are any questions as I go along, please stop me and ask. Yeah.
Only like in reference to the resources available.
Yes.
and the induction oven to make the steel, because almost everything that we're making is made with the steel.
Dependent on steel, yes.
Yeah, there's, I imagine, and I'm not sure that Botswana has iron ore.
No, iron ore we have iron ore. There's a new mine that just opened up and has actually supplied its first shipment to China I think it was last October.
Okay.
But yeah, there is iron ore. I just discovered the mine is about 100 miles away from my proposed OSE Mansadidi or OSE Botswana site. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, so OSE Mansadidi, the area that I'm thinking about is an area called Mansadidi, where there's a land of about 128 hectares land available. It consists of 8 plots of 16 hectares each, which belong to members of my family. So I still have to negotiate with them about this land, but it's actually not being used. So it's a terrible waste, and it's a great opportunity to use this land because it's like the location of the land is about in the middle of Botswana. Most of the population of Botswana is situated on the eastern side of the country. And about halfway down between north and south is a place called Mahalapye, where the land is. And this is also the location of the Botswana International University of Science and Technology, located there as well, which you did, Curtis, you did some research about working, what is it? They have a workshop there, a metal workshop. Yeah. I was actually trying to get into the site, but I couldn't. It was working very, very slow. And
it's difficult to get in it. It takes a good while to get in it, and then it seems like it shuts down at nighttime.
Yeah.
We probably got to have somebody to go visit them. But you say you're getting ready to go.
Yes, I think by the end.
Yeah,
by the end of this month, I'll be going back to Botswana to take up a job, unfortunately, but needs must. I have to be able to feed the family. So yeah, but I mean, once I'm there, I'll be able to get in touch with them. And I don't know. And also, I want to try and start sourcing funding from CEDA, which is our Citizen Entrepreneurship Development Agency. So they have development, they have loans to start enterprises. And then the other thing that Derrick brought up was a Public Benfit Corporation registered in the USA primarily to source funding or rather fundraising in the US. But I think we'll talk about that a little bit more later. I think Derrick will take the lead on that.
Okay, because I don't know what that is. I never heard of it. I imagine it's something like a 501c3 non-profit organization. But,
yeah, I think Derrick knows more about it because I've never heard of it either. Right. Anyway, so my plan was to register a non-profit educational institution in Botswana. I think this is following in from Curtis's advice in terms of being a non-profit, in terms of sourcing funding, and the for-profit business will come later once we're up and running. And then the idea is to build a micro factory to fabricate machines, which will provide bootstrapping finance to be able to launch other businesses from that. And then also, because it's an educational institution, we need classrooms, we need dormitories, And this will primarily be an off-grid facility. That's the plan.
Okay.
And then these steps to outline to creating OSB, OSEB Mansadidi, just calling it that, basically outlined in the OSE campus business plan, which I've shared with you guys and also on WhatsApp and Telegram and on my log, wiki log. And I think the first thing we need to establish there is water supply. There's no water there. It's basically just bush. There's nothing there. There's yeah.
You have to have a well then.
Yes, yes, very true. Yes, true. Yeah, most of our water does come from underground. We do. Yeah, it's quite common to get water from underground, and establish a power supply, and then to build the foundation. To build the workshop foundation and the structure and the roofing. The roof I'm planning will be a PV roof. PV, it'll be a roof made out of PV panels. You know, what Marcin called the roofless roof, PV roofless roof. Right, so the roof itself will be the PV panels. And then to develop the infrastructure for student accommodation, classroom, kitchen and dining facilities as well, right? Before we can actually bring any students on site.
All right. I was looking at Vincenzo's wiki.
Yes. Yes.
And the well driller that is used to drill the wells, there's a possibility, I've seen it on some tractors, and I know they have some like that here, where the well driller is made onto the back of the tractor or attachment that you put on there.
Yeah.
But and the well driller is one of the tools that is in there, but I don't know if it's designed. But we might ask Vincenzo about designing the 3D, the free CAD portion of it, and then I imagine we're gonna get some help from some of the students at that technical university there.
Yes, yes, that's the idea. Yeah, yeah, to try and forge some close collaboration links with the university there as well. Yeah. Right. When you say Vincenzo's wiki, did he have a design for the well driller already, or
what he have on his wiki is his progress through free CAD and CAD drawing. So I think he went to school for CAD, and then he applied to adapted it to free CAD. But he did show that some of the things that he had created using free CAD. And I was just, going to kind of want to bring that to him about designing it. Now, one of the things that in this tractor, he didn't, what Marcin didn't do is put a 3-point hitch on the back of the tractor. And that was one of the things that we were supposed to come up with ourselves. So I did look at some of them, and didn't appear to be really difficult. But I don't know free CAD. I've been using it somewhat, but I'm not nowhere near a expert or anything like that. So that portion I would almost ask somebody that know to for the tractor, even that Life Track 6 or the 20 Life Track 20 version, 2020 version, to put a 3D hitch, because for plowing, cultivating anything you need, anything like that, you're gonna need that 3-point hitch.
Yes, yes, that's true. It would be useless without something like that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was just looking again at this, the state of completion, and the well drilling rig is quite low down, about halfway down, less than 25%.
Yeah, it's probably because there's not a whole lot of people that's participating in OSE that
Yeah.
needs the well drilling. Like you say, the country of Botswana was landlocked and don't have a water source like in other places.
Yes.
But being that now we at that point, I think that's one of the things that we want to do.
Okay. All right. Yes, true. Right.
Do you know what the water table is in Botswana, in that area where Mansa
Actually, my uncle Trevor is, I don't know, I think he's doing some farming in that area. So he was saying that to drill, you need to drill about 200 meters, he was saying.
Okay.
200 meters is how many feet? I have no idea.
It's about 600 feet.
Yeah, probably, yeah. 600 feet. I don't know if that sounds like a lot, actually.
Yeah, it is compared to where the one that we did. And my father, I was raised on a farm. We drilled the wells ourselves, and they wasn't but like 20 feet. The water table was like 20, 25 feet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you said 200. Let me just check that. Let me just try. Yeah, he said safe depth is about 200 meters.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, that's a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So the long-term plan is to be able to create a platform out of the OSE, out of the educational facility, from which other business enterprises can spring from. So we're talking about things like, so if we start with the educational facility, teaching young people, we're running out of, we've only got 10 minutes left. Wow. And I can't upgrade. Okay, maybe we can start another meeting immediately after. Would that be all right? Actually,
it's all right for me.
Sorry?
It's all right for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
right.
I'm good with it.
All right. Okay, great. Actually, I spent a long time talking. This was supposed to be like a 10-minute short introduction. But anyway, let me just finish off. So the idea was to create a platform from which other business enterprises can spring from. And for instance, if we build the CB press, so that creates a whole stream where you can, a stream business where you can do CB housing, construction business, solving affordable housing. Then there's agricultural businesses, which also spring from all the tooling that we can make, the tractor and whatever implements that can be made from it. So there's a whole list of businesses, or the idea, that's the idea that I would like to see, that from this we can explode into all sorts of other businesses, to be able to farm, to be able to build houses, to a complete ecosystem, right? And this was just an idea that I had. This is from the business plan, where you have the micro factory at the center, and then the campus, and all the other businesses that spring from that. All right. Okay, so that was my short, long presentation. So if there are any other any questions?
One, I definitely want to know about that public, that or source that Derrick was supposed to talk about to give us info on how that public fundraising.
Okay. Yeah, what is it? The Public Benfit Corporation. Public Benefit Corporation. Right.
Derrick ain't made it back yet.
Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. Right. Galaxy. Hello, Galaxy A3 Core. Oh, Jack. Hello, Jack. Hello, Jack. Can you hear me, Jack?
Yeah, I can.
Hi, how are you, Jack?
No, I'm fine.
All right. Let me introduce you to the other people. So we have Curtis, who's in the US, but he's done a lot of philanthropic work in Ghana. And then we also have Derrick Chapman, also in the US in California. And we have my sister as well. So Jack is actually an instructor at one of the technical, what do you call it, technical institutions in Botswana. Right.
61 goals so far, the highest figure at this stage of the season since.
Okay, Jack, can you mute your mic?
Gomez.
Yeah, yeah, I can.
Okay.
Is my mic on?
Oh, okay. No, that's fine.
You?
Right.
No, it was off.
Okay. So, so I'm hoping that Jack will be one of our instructors, since he's our instructors are master fabricators.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. All right. Okay. So I think, can I ask Derrick to just to talk a little bit about the Public Benefit Corporation?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I'll try to talk over the background there. If you guys can hear me, I'll just proceed, and if you can, I'll just repeat if necessary. I wanted to speak to you guys a little bit about a corporate structure that may fit for what Ken you're trying to develop in Botswana. Mm-hmm. And it kind of stems from my kind of moral compass and the things that kind of drive me from a business standpoint and a social responsibility standpoint. And I discovered this corporate structure after doing some research about how I could be most effective in my mission of not only helping our general mankind, but also the planet, and also make it profitable for my shareholders and for myself. So I did a little research on this corporate structure that is allowed in most of the states here in the United States, and it's called a Public Benefit Corporation. And it's very similar to a nonprofit, but there are some differences that need to be considered before deciding if this is the right structure. Now, most people know what a nonprofit is, and they're familiar with some of the advantages of it. One being a 501c3 classification and status, and the 501c3 is a tax designation that allows for nonprofits to be taxed, as a nonprofit versus as a for-profit business. So when it comes to work like OSE and what we're trying to accomplish here, those type of structures are common. However, a lot of people don't know about a public benefit corporation, which is very similar, like I said, to the nonprofit. But I don't believe, and I've done some studies in some states allow it to be kind of classified as a public benefit nonprofit, and there might be some 501c3 status that could be attached to that. However, most people who choose the public benefit corporation choose it because you have the option of actually being a for-profit, but still have those same goals and missions that are basically focused on planet, people, and profit without actually having to be designated as a nonprofit. You could take profits, you could, kind of function as a regular C corporation. And the only thing that you would have to do when you file for your articles of incorporation is put a designation in there that you're a public benefit corporation. And that basically gives you kind of like the authority within the organization as board of directors or directors to stay focused on mission critical things like the planet and the people over shareholders' profits. So those are some of the things that differentiate that, because most of the time in corporations, you're pigeonholed to the shareholders and their direction versus like the direction of the overall organization and their mission. So you're not solely focused on profits, but you're focused on the things that really make up the organization's foundation. So I like it for all of those reasons, and it may be something that may be suitable for this organization going forward. I think there's a way to utilize this in a way where it could be like a organization that could facilitate some of the fundraising here in the United States for projects in Africa. And I think this is a good vehicle because a lot of people, they want to do things, but a lot of times, they're looking for profit. And this is a way to kind of do, those type of impactful things in Africa and still profit in a way. So what I was suggesting was maybe we could look at this as a.
Okay. Curtis just entered here. Curtis is with us.
That's better.
Hi, Curtis. Can you hear us? Hello, Curtis.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Derrick, over to you.
Yes. Okay. Sorry about the interruption there. So I was speaking about the difference between a public benefit corporation and just your regular nonprofit or regular C corporation. And the difference, I believe, where I was, I left the call, we were talking about the shareholders being the most important aspect of any for-profit business. So their mission is to create profits for their shareholders. And unlike a public benefit corporation, their mission is kind of in line with their profits. And one of the other key components is, it's all about, the environment or the planet. So you're able to kind of hold all the things that is true about a nonprofit, but you're able to be designated as a for-profit business. And the only thing that's required is that you have to, designate that in your articles of organization or incorporation, I should say, when we're talking corporations. So Delaware, Nevada, and Wyoming are states that people typically set up corporations in the United States. And I was talking about some of the advantages and disadvantages of that. And that, is typically surrounding, taxation, and then also privacy issues. I had spoke about putting together the proper paperwork to follow it if this is the direction the group would like to go in. And, the idea is to utilize this organization to garner attention of investors and, policymakers here in the United States that have an interest in developing programs and organizations in the Africa region. So those are some things that I wanted to share with the group because, like I said, you're able to have some benefits of like a nonprofit, but be a for-profit business. And in the case of the United States, that's been a capitalist country. That's kind of what drives people in investing. So something to consider. I looked at this for my own platform here in California that I'm trying to develop. And it allows for you to participate on grants and some other things that is not available to an individual or certain organization. So something to consider. And like I said, I've shared some links and some information and definitions of what a public benefit organization is, and I'll be happy to put more on a wiki leak or something like that for people who want to research it.
I got a question. What's the duration of the time that from the time we get started to the time you can start raising funds to send to the project and about the Botswana project?
You asking for a timeline or how long it'll take to set up a corporation to be able to provide funding for projects in Africa?
Yeah.
Typically, the process of setting up a corporation is all based on the person who's filing. So it's just an online document that could be filled out, in an hour or less. And once you send it in, it takes typically in California, it takes about 4 to 5 days. And they'll send you a certified copy that it's been filed with the state. And then from there, you will file for a EIN number with the IRS, and then that'll allow for you to open up a bank account. And with the papers of your articles and your EIN number, the person who is on the documents as a director or officer has the ability to open up a bank account here domestically. And then at that point, you want to make sure you have your articles, kind of in place with your bylaws and whatever else, shareholder certificates and things that need to be issued. All of that could be done within, to answer your question, maybe a week or two. And then from there, there's no like special tax filing like you would do with a 501c3 where you have to wait for them to on the federal level to send you all the document back, and that could take months to years. But this is just literally just filing as a corporation and designating yourself as a public benefit corporation, and your tax filings are similar to a C corporation. So that's at the end of the year, and you have a fiscal year. Your fiscal year is, around the time you say that the organization started to the following year on that date.
Ken, you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. It's kind of hard to hear you, Ken. Might have to turn your mic up a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me now?
That's better. Can you go a little bit, just a little bit more?
Actually, my volume is on 100%. That's as high as it goes. I'll try and speak louder, if that helps. Right.
So are there any questions on that, or?
Basically, that was as far as getting this started. Where Derrick is saying a weekend, does that fit for you?
Sorry, could you say it again, please?
Derrick was saying it takes about a week to set up this this public corporation. Is that what you wanted? Because like I'm not sure exactly how the people like in other words, it sounds like it's a quasi shareholding corporation.
Yeah.
Derrick dropped off again, I think.
Oh,
No, I'm still here. Yeah, it's a shareholder-led organization with a mission. So, typically people who invest in it are, mission-driven.
Do you know any philanthropists or that would potentially join the group once we got it set up? Because I'm not really understanding how the funds is generated that goes to the norm for instance, for the OSE Botswana, does that have to be a nonprofit to get funds from the group that you're talking about, Derrick?
Not necessarily. However, I believe that's what Ken was saying, was that he will set up a nonprofit in Botswana, and then there will be a for-profit arm here in the United States that will collaborate and partner with the organization in Botswana. So there'll be two separate organizations.
Okay.
One for profit, one for nonprofit, and one will be domestic and one will be local. Will be international.
I'm speaking more so the cash flow from say the group that you set up in the United States. There's the fund that is used for that one is the fund is investor funds. Am I right?
Yes.
So
and it could be grant funding. It could be grant funding. It could be all sorts of funding. It could be loans. It could be all types of things.
Okay, so the funds then they first put it into that organization you got, and then that organization funnels to the nonprofit in Botswana.
Correct.
Okay. I guess the only thing after that is, do we have any potential? Do you have any potential investors, Derrick, that in other words, there's a goal that we're trying to reach, right, Ken? There's a goal, a startup goal amount that you're trying to reach. Am I right, Ken?
Yes, and the thing is, the way that I wrote the business plan, it was based on it was based on a startup in Botswana, looking at the local looking at the local looking at the local scene in Botswana, where you have like funding agencies like SIDA and who have a ceiling funding, like 4 million pula. So I was actually targeting that. That is not to say that, the 4 million pula it's a bit, it's not really enough. It's not really enough for the machines that we need to get to be able to start the whole, what is it, the whole enterprise, from the beginning.
Well, do you have an amount that you would need to start to get to the stage what you're talking about, Ken, the startup stage completed, or
I need to go back and look at the figures, because what I was doing was I was shaving off amounts to try and get it to all fit in within the 4 million pula. So if I was actually to look at it realistically and say, okay, this is how much we need for the equipment, this is how much we need for the workshop, this is how much we need for the buildings, the dormitories and the classrooms, then I would probably come up with a figure that's more than 4 million pula. And 4 million pula
Hi, sorry, can I chip in there?
Yes.
Yes, I believe CEDA has increased their limit to 40 million.
Well, 40 million, okay.
Yes.
So, all right, okay. No, I was looking at the CEDA site, and I was initially looking at the, what do they call it? The manufacturing loan. And
Yes.
there it says it's a limit, it's limited to 4 million pula.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll need to get in touch with them to ask them what the limit is. But anyway, from what Curtis is saying, what I would like to do then is to go back to the plan and to look at all the figures, because I have quotations for what do you call it, the CNC torch table. I have quotations for the iron worker and all those different pieces of equipment, and it doesn't fit into 4 million. 4 million pula is not enough.
okay. But like for the building itself,
Yeah.
you need the brick maker that compress, or maybe a couple of them. I'm not sure, but you definitely need the brick maker, and you need the steel, the rebar that goes into the foundation.
Yes, that's correct.
And possibly the steel to make the brick machine.
Yeah.
Unless you were just gonna try to buy them a brick machine from Marcin and have it shipped, or to get started, just to get started in the startup project. I'm saying you need rebar.
Yeah.
And you need the money for concrete and for the floor and stuff like that.
Yes.
And now I was looking for a figure there, a dollar figure, what you could say, okay. And then we look for, is CEDA going to do that, or should we look to the group that Derrick is talking about?
Okay. Right. I like I said, I was trying to fit everything in within the CEDA budget, but if what Lerato is saying, they've increased the amount. How to divide it? I'll need to go back and see what I can come up with. Yeah. And
okay.
Maybe we could schedule another meeting, and then at that other meeting, then we can also come up with, I think what Derrick also mentioned was that in order to set up this for Public Benfit Corporation, he would need names. He would need the name of the corporation. He would need the officers' names, and he would need to know how many shares to be issued, and corporation address. I don't know. I think since this is going to be in America, I don't know. Derrick, would you be able to take care of all of that? How many names would you need from us?
Sure. Typically, you need a president, a treasurer, and a secretary. So 3. However, in some cases, one person could serve in all of those roles, or maybe more than one, depending on the state. So you can act as the president and the treasurer, or the president and secretary. So depending on the state that we choose to register with, then I could get the information and determine which officers are needed.
Derrick, you believe this will work for what we're trying to do?
I think it's another vehicle. I'm not absolutely certain that it'll work, but I think if it's a way to further development in Africa, I think this is one way that it could be done that I'm familiar with. And it's all going to come down to projects, that are viable and practical, and have the right people to manage it, for people to want to back it or finance it. So it's all about the story, how compelling it is, and if it makes sense for the investor. So
Okay.
go ahead.
Do you have any potential investors that you could even talk to them about what we're trying to do to get an idea on what they would fund?
I don't have
Like for instance, the project.
I don't have any people lined up. However, I do have a network of people who may be interested.
Well, that might help. We kind of have to try to. What do you need to get started? If you say, okay, we got a week, so it takes about a week. If you say, okay, in a week we could be at this stage if we do A, B, and C. What is it that you need us to do?
Well, what we would have to do is determine the name. We'll have to identify the officers. We'll have to fill out the application, and then file it, and then determine which determine which state you want to do it in, and then determine if we want to do it kind of alone or with legal assistance. They have organizations and companies that will basically do all of it for us for a fee, or we could do it ourselves and save the filing fees that these organizations collect for doing it for us. So I sent some numbers to Ken. One state, it's all different based on the state, but one state it was like $150 to $200. Another state it's about $200 to $300 to get it done. So that will be the cost. I don't know if there's funding, to pay for it, or if, we all need to pitch in, or, come up with a way to get that done. But it'll cost probably about $300 to get it off the ground. And then I could do, the articles, probably myself, and then, kind of share it with the group, and then we could give input on what we want in them, and then come up with the shareholders, value, and then distribute stock certificates along with that. And then I think that's about it for now. And then what goes on from there is like you have to, do all the, the things that's required to have a company. So if you're talking about a local presence, then there's probably local business licenses that will have to be secured. There's probably some insurance that needs to be in place, a website so we can have some kind of presence. So there's some monies that need to go beyond just setting up the company. So all of that probably needs to be discussed before we decide that we want to go even set it up.
This where I think having some investors already interested by, like, for instance, if you come up with the idea, the name or whatever, if I was going to go to investors, I would have a project that I could explain to them what we're doing, even if I didn't have a name for it. I would definitely have the concept where I could explain it to them, because depending on what you're trying to do, probably going to determine who would invest. You see, so for instance, if it was a church, you was building a church, you could probably use go to the churches and solicit, donations or something like that. But so I don't know. I don't know what field of people we would be soliciting investors or trying to get investors involved. Do you think that would make a difference? Who we asking to be investors? Derrick?
What would make a difference? I'm not kind of clear on what you're contrasting.
For instance, if we trying to do a project where we building a facility that will eventually produce machines. Okay. Now, what group of investors? I don't know how investors work. Okay, on for profit investors, because for-profit investors is different from the people that I had dealt with in the past, where they were sort of philanthropists and they donated money to the different projects that was sort of like within their understanding. They would make donations, but that's different from investors that's investing for profit. I believe that's different. Am I right?
Right. So I think I have a grasp of what you're asking. I'll start with the part where you're saying like you have a set of investors, so you'll have an idea and you'll have a pitch already in place that you could take to the investors to express their interest in a specific project. As it relates to what type of investor, I'm not using the word investor in your traditional sense, and I use that kind of just to explain the ability to even have an investor in a public benefit corporation versus a nonprofit where you don't have investors. What you have is mission driven people, and that will apply in the public benefit side of things that we are talking about here. So it'll be like, okay, there's a foundation with a bunch of money, and they need to give it to certain causes that they've identified in their strategic plan or their business plan or whatever. So you could go to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and say, hey, we have this project that we want to support in Botswana, and we're looking for $1 million, and then you do the pitch, and and you go through the process of applying for the funding that they give out on an annual basis, and if you get selected, then you get the money, and then that money could go and be earmarked for the project in Botswana. And I think the same thing could be done from Botswana, but typically they want to do it where they could get recognition here on this side of the the ocean, and also get the tax write-offs and all the other stuff that go along with it. So that's one form of like getting funding. And the idea wasn't just for investors or going out and pitching to investors. It was just a way to garner support for projects that may not get the exposure or get the attention that a U.S. company would get. A lot of people shy away from foreign investment because of a lot of reasons, because the instability and because of the lack of resources, lack of training and workforce, and on and on and on. I've done international development, and those are my same concerns. So I know I would feel more comfortable, next time doing something with a company that has some experience on this side of, the earth, and then being able to also translate what they've, done here over there, or have a partnership with someone that is taking those same platforms and ideologies and understandings and collaboration and doing the same thing there. So it'll be kind of like an arm of whatever's going on the continent of Africa. It's just another vehicle that won't require each individual country in Ghana, I mean, like Ghana or any country in Africa will be able to participate. And, you know, these foundations don't have to like really worry about the, you know, the mechanics on how it all gets done, because they'll give it to a organization here who would manage it. So it'll be almost like a fund management, a crowdsourcing type of thing where you could, you know, go out to anyone and just do a, you know, a pitch deck on a crowdsource type of platform, and then just say, hey, we got this project, you can donate, and you know, that's how you could, you know, go about it. Along with, you know, investors, you could go to, you know, investors who have these type of, you know, funds set aside. It's corporations.
All right. One of the obstacles that open source had was the companies that was already into the business. Like for instance, tractors. You had John Deere, Alice Chapman, and other ones that wasn't happy to have people building tractors themselves, and they kind of let that be known that they wasn't with open source building these tractors that would take business away from them if the idea of open source was successful. So when I was talking about investors, I was kind of going along the lines that it almost has to be people trying to have an understanding that you're trying to help bring something into existence that's needed by a particular group that can't buy from the main corporations, can't afford it. Do you get what I'm saying? You know, you take a John Deere tractor that's $40,000, and then you ask somebody in Botswana, can you afford a $40,000 a tractor based off of the wages that they making in Botswana? So that was one of the problems that open source had when they were pitching the idea of building these tractors, letting the communities build the tractors themselves versus buying John Deere. I'm not sure if I'm clear. I don't talk that well, but I'm trying to get the idea of what was happening versus investors that wants to invest for, say, the iron ore, the potential resources that's on the property. You say, okay, this land has 20 million tons of iron ore, and you're gonna find all the investors that want to invest in minerals interested, but for building the machines that Botswana need, finding investors that ain't just how you say trying out there. They're not for profit. They're just trying to help. I think that might be something. In any case, I will follow y'all lead if y'all say, hey, this is what we want to try to do. Okay, that's fine with me.
Yeah, it's just, again, just one option or vehicle. I don't think it's going to be the everything, because there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of obstacles, to even get in a position to even take anyone's, donation or funds or money, right? So this is something that, we could just kind of have in the background and have it work in parallel with what's going on the ground over there. And then, I think people would be more interested in targeted investment. So it will have to be for something like specific things that they could actually wrap their arms around and see a profit and loss statement on that particular business. A lot of people get uncomfortable, and I've developed, these type of platforms where you have these whole ecosystems and everything kind of work off each other. Sort of like, the power cube is kind of like the nucleus for all the tools, right? So typically a lot of people, when they see a lot of moving parts, they don't want to invest in that. They're like, no, you seem like you're all over the place, or, I don't see, any focus, right? And that's hard because the public benefit organization is, supposed to go out there and find and seek all these different opportunities, right? But the thing that I think would probably be critical here, starting off, is that we should probably look at targeted investment or fundraising or donations for a specific component or piece of what needs to happen in the bigger picture. So it might just be where this group is just going to invest in building the building, or this group is just going to invest in building, the machines, or, building the greenhouse, right? And they're going to invest in the production that's going to come from the greenhouse. And that may be a way to get the project off the ground. And then once there's enough money that's been made for the local organization, then they could probably, peel off from the, investor, or the investment could be for a period of time and be limited. And then you could just go on, and now it's funded and it's self-sufficient, right? So I think all you need is just, to get the ball rolling on something that would actually get you in place to open, the door to the next tool or the next piece of equipment. So start with one and then work your way up. So maybe the business model plan might need to be a little more condensed. Maybe you don't go try to build the whole village or at once. Just go build, a 3D, printer or something for now, and get some funding and money going around that and the momentum, and then move into the next one, and then on and on and on. So that's, kind of my overview of, how this could be rolled out, and, some ways to, kind of skin the cat.
Right. Derrick,
So
can
we
I
got
just
3
stop
minutes
you
left,
there?
Ken.
Can I just stop you there? Because we're just under 2 minutes, just under 3 minutes, again, running out of time. 3 minutes remaining, 2 minutes 45.
I talk too much, so I'm sorry.
No, very interesting, very interesting. But I think I got the distinction between investors, because when you said investors, I was thinking of people who are looking to get a return on their investment, on the money they put in. But it could be people with more like donations. Talking more
And universities and things like that, and other nonprofits that have a mission that want to partner with someone in Africa, like even like Rotary International. I used to be a president of Rotary. There's money there that we could tap into. You see what I mean?
Right. Yes.
So there's other ways to get money. It's just not just going out there and asking people to give you money and hoping for a return.
Okay, right. We've only got a minute left. So what I suggest is, let me, in our chats, in our groups, I'll write just a quick record of what we talked about and what we need to do in terms of getting the Public Benefit Corporation started. Would that
Sounds good?
That be okay?
Okay.
Yeah, all right, okay.
And Curtis, if you have other questions, you have my number, so let's, we could talk offline and keep going. I'm free for the next hours.
Okay, but if I do, I want to do it on Telegram.
Yeah, I don't have access to Telegram today. Unfortunately, I don't have that device that has that on.
All right, okay.
So we could talk over the phone if you want.
Okay.
Or we could communicate, through what Ken is talking about here.
Right.
Okay.
For me, it's almost midnight, so I'm off to bed.
Okay.
All right. Good
Appreciate
night.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for
Bye,
popping
everyone.
in. And
All right.
nice to see you. Jack, you too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Jack. Are you there? Jack is noisy, but anyway, okay, we'll talk on WhatsApp anyway. All right, so good night, guys. Talk later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.